Let me start by asking in terms of how much the industry is aware about digital adoption platform. Since it's a relatively new concept, very few players are there. Basically,
Right.
smaller companies are there, not too much large. So, give us a little bit of about digital adoption platform and also about Whatfix journey so far.
Right. So, do you want me to explain a bit about the product and the use case as well, or you are comfortable with that?
Just few things.
Right.
Just from a general, understanding.
Sure. I'll give you a very simple example why digital adoption is also required and what we do actually. So I'll give you one example. Let's say 10, 15 years back, if you wanted to, let's say, come from HSR to Richmond, you would do a lot of pre-preparation before you start the journey, like have a physical map, or you ask your friends which bus to take, or what should I tell the auto fellow, or which route to take, right? But today you don't do that. Today you just get in your car or anywhere and just fire your Google map, and as you travel, it will navigate you, right? So what is it? It is just in time. It is contextual. It is on-demand navigation. And if you map the same thing to training, learning, support, right? So today, if a new software is getting deployed or an employee is using a software and they get stuck, the options they have is either I attend a classroom training, I go through a manuals or videos or something, or I raise a support ticket. Everything is off context. Support tickets are responded after some time, and as the user is working, if the problem can be solved at that moment, the productivity can be optimal. So that's what, am I audible? In context, guidance, which is step by step to the user and help complete a task. So for example, a user needs to, let's say a sales rep, create an opportunity in a CRM, and the sales rep doesn't know how to do it. So instead of going through the manuals or videos or asking a colleague, they would trigger Whatfix, which is embedded as part of the application of CRM, and say, okay, I need to log an opportunity. And when they trigger that help, Whatfix will start showing them tips, saying, okay, this is the tab you need to click on. When they click on the tab, Whatfix will say, these are the fields you need to fill up. And Whatfix also provide them nudges, like what information should be filled, some validations can be done. And as the user keeps on progressing that particular activity, Whatfix will keep giving them the nudges and help them to complete a task. It's like a GPS on the app, providing the step-by-step navigation and helping the user to complete a task on demand. So they don't have to sit down for a classroom training, or don't have to wait for a support ticket resolution, or don't have to go through the class videos or tutorials. So it reduces the support tickets by 40-50%. It removes the need for the classroom trainings. Onboarding of the user can be really swift. New rollout of the application or change management can be done like 50% or 80% faster. These are some of the benefits, and the productivity can be improved, right? So if an employee is saving few tens of hours, maybe they can be used for more productive hours, so there can be improvement in your top line as well, right? And if you look at the larger enterprises today, enterprise, let's say with 5,000 employees and above, have around 800 to 1,000 softwares deployed. So each employee has an access to 60 to 80 softwares at least. Imagine the millions and millions of dollars, let's say around few hundreds of millions of dollars have gone into transformation projects and ensuring the digitization of processes. So Whatfix can ensure that employees can use them efficiently, and ROI can be seen by the organization, and those hundreds of millions of dollars of which investment has been done can be utilized for improving the efficiency and the productivity in the organization. So that's in the nutshell what we do, right? So so use cases wise, like we have around 400 customers, 500 customers, and typically customers buy Whatfix. Let's say I want to use on a CRM like Salesforce, I want to use on a Dynamics, I want to use on HCM like SuccessFactors, Workday, Oracle, or financial ERP, hundreds of enterprise tool. Or they say I have built some custom tool for my employees. Can I use Whatfix for that so that they can use it efficiently? I'll pause for a minute if you have any questions till this point.
Can you tell about Whatfix as a journey as a company so far?
Sorry, Pankaj, I didn't hear the statement.
Can you tell about your company as an organization, how it's been started and so far till now?
Yeah, okay. So we are around 325 people as of today. We have raised around $49 million in up till Series C round. We started in 2014. as part of, we were actually part of GSF Accelerator at that point, and the cohort was supposed to go to Silicon Valley in Bay Area. That's why we joined, because we wanted to get into the Bay Area and see how the ecosystem works there. Because when we started this company, me and my co-founder colleague Varakumar, we are two co-founders. So we realized that, okay, when we build a software SaaS company in India, the market primarily will have to be on the US side. And that's the reason we thought, okay, let's join an accelerator which can help us get the exposure there. Prior to starting Whatfix, actually, we both, me and my co-founder, had worked for 10 years building BI products and a product line in Huawei Telecom. We quit that, and then we started this company, but the other product called Search Enabler, which was supposed to help small businesses for improving their social media and search visibility. So we used to create a lot of recommendations which business owners has to implement, and they can see better ROI. And that's where we got stuck a bit. Because the business owners were not implementing those recommendations because they were finding it hard, and we were targeting small businesses, so product had to be DIY, right? So the hypothesis, it has to be DIY, but the users were not finding it DIY enough. So that's where we tried to solve that problem by creating several different mechanisms. We actually experimented for almost 18 months, like creating a plugin on Joomla, Magento, or a WordPress, or creating different tutorials, videos, giving them nudges. But the one thing which resonated was actually giving them those tips when they are part of this WordPress console, when they are part of the Magento console. And that evolved as Whatfix, what is it today. So in 2013, we started experimenting. In 2014, we pivoted to Whatfix as a community platform, like a SlideShare or a YouTube, where anybody can come and share this interactive help. And then when some of the potential customers started asking that, okay, can I use this for my application? We decided to shut down the previous one and focus 100% on Whatfix. And the first 8 to 10 customers were mostly SaaS companies. Primarily 80% of, like 8 of them were in India. First international customer was in Boston. Second international customer was in France. That's how we started, actually primarily helping them to resolve support, making the product more self-serve. We raised our first round at that point. Post Accelerator was from Helion in 2015, $1 million seed round. And towards 2016, we started experimenting with other use cases where can I go inside an enterprise and help in this complex enterprise software, and then started resonating towards end of 2016. And that's where you can see we got a proper product market fit, and we raised our Series A led by Scalerace in 2017 early. And from there, we started going rapidly year on year. And then 2019, we raised Series B from 8 Roads, Cisco Investments, F Prime. And early this year, we raised our Series C from Sequoia, Dragoneer, and some of the other previous investors followed on. In terms of customers, as I mentioned, we have around 500 accounts globally. 70% of them are in the United States. 20% are in developed part of Europe, that is Western Europe, like Germany, France, Netherlands, UK. The rest 12% is spread across the globe. Primary contributor in that 12% would be Australia, South Africa, India. So that's the structure. Around 270 to 80 people are in Bangalore for the company. Around 35 people are in US. US, we have 2 major pods, main offices in Bay Area, San Jose. We have another pod in Atlanta, and there are a few people of it on street in different regions like Ohio, Dallas, Boston, and all. We have a small office presence in London as well as in Melbourne as well. Towards this year or early next year, we're looking to start our presence in Germany and Japan as well. Yeah, so that's a quick on Whatfix.
So, majority of customers are outside India, in the US. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Most of your customers, majority of the chunk of the customers are outside India. So can you see a trend where, still it's a very, very new concept in the markets like India. So CIOs or enterprises are not too much looking into this new, concept or technology that could help in terms of productivity. So you see the markets are a little bit evolving specifically in the emerging markets. Are the CIOs, enterprises ready to invest this kind of tools?
Yeah. So, okay, I'll answer both the questions. I think the first question, I think I didn't answer completely when you started the topic, like how is the digital adoption category is evolving itself and what is the awareness, I think you asked. And then I'll talk about a little bit about emerging. So this category, when I say, let's say if I go to an enterprise with a few thousand employees, as I was mentioning, there are a few hundreds of applications there. So if Whatfix gets deployed into, let's say 50 to 80 of them across the organization, helping them to improve adoption, that gives a multi-million-dollar footprint in any enterprise. So that gives a potential market size of $8 to $10 billion at least. Now, if I consider this market size, what we are doing as of today, including the whole category, not only Whatfix, is scratching less than 5% globally of that market. So 95% is wide open. And since the market is wide open, actually, we are actually looking at US, where typically there are early adopters and people move fast with the technology, and opportunity cost, people understand convenience, people are ready to pay. And also the enterprises, they have distributed workforce. Right now, an MNC would have headquarters in US, they would have presence in Europe, presence in India. So most of the decision making also would happen where they would say, okay, let's buy this something and deploy it across my footprints. So considering all this, we actually started investing a lot our GTM into US market, followed by some bit of Europe. India had been always opportunistic. Like there are companies which keep coming forward to us saying, okay, we want to use this, we want to use Whatfix. We didn't proactively go, but still we have like 3 to 4% business coming out of India. So there are some early adopters. There are technology savvy companies which actually look at Whatfix. They want to adopt, they want to start using. So there are a few, like we have like 25, 30 deployments already in India as well. So it's opening up. And with COVID right now, everybody has to be like, behavioral changes like accelerated now. With everybody working from home, you tap a colleague, which was one of the topmost way of taking help or asking some question. It's very hard now. So people have to rely more technology way of training, learning, and supporting. So more and more companies across the globe now are looking at something like Whatfix now. Earlier, we would have never thought like for such kind of technology, somebody would come from Thailand or Vietnam or Poland and all. We're getting so many inbounds from these countries as well now, which was a little bit hard to believe 24 months back.
And since largely, based on your customers, and are this deployment largely happening around the HR functions, or is typically going beyond the HR? Because because the training largely falls into the HR side. So are the HR people more interested into employing this kind of technology, or still the CIO is not too much? It's not considered as a largely ROI driven kind of function.
Okay, so basically now the low hanging fruit for Whatfix is basically going behind some of the applications. So let's say Salesforce or a CRM. So and CRM is very hard to use. It's very complex. It gets customized for every deployment. So let's say a Salesforce getting deployed for company A would be looking very different from a company B, because they customize as per the needs and tailor it accordingly. And that's why they hire companies like Infosys, Wipro, TCS, and all those to deploy also those stack, right? So when they do this, they face a lot of challenges. And Whatfix goes and helps them. Now, in this particular situation, typically, who is the owner, person who is getting impacted? Like, if the CRM is not filled up properly, the data is not collected in the right way, the forecasting, the predictability of your sales revenue, etc., would not be accurate. The efficiency of the sales rep will go down. So even the VP sales or head of sales will be concerned here. The sales enablement team will be concerned. Sales operations team will be concerned. Of course, L&D also will be concerned, or HR function also will be concerned, but even the business stakeholders are very much bothered about it. So most of the time, the functional team starts looking at this first, and they gets the budget for Whatfix. Similarly, if I go to ERP solutions and also procurement department or the financial departments, they start saying, okay, we are facing a lot of problems in voice generation. A lot of agents or third party are struggling with that. We need something to solve this problem, and they come up with this. Once it starts spreading, let's say we have a CRM implementation of Whatfix, we have a SAP implementation of Whatfix like HANA or something, and then we have Ariba implementation of Whatfix. Now they say, okay, can I use this for 10, 15 applications? And then who will own across the organization? That's where then HR L&D department or say, okay, we are a cross function, horizontal in the organization. Let us take this ownership. Let us create a center of excellence for digital adoption in the organization. Maybe let's get a CLO as a stakeholder and CIO and get an organization level budget and start doing this across 30, 40 applications. So it typically starts, in summary, typically starts with a function where the budget comes from a specific function. They see the ROI, then it starts spreading, and then it goes really horizontal after that.
And in terms of the deployment, how much time it does take, or does the organization needs to do a bit of customization when you roll over on existing, say CRM or whichever enterprise software they would be using it, and does it involve time frame in terms of deployment? Do you need to what the algorithm?
Yeah. So Whatfix is agnostic to underlying application. So Whatfix, the version 1 which we had, works on any web application because it's a browser-based system. So it can work on any, whether it's a CRM, HCM, or custom homegrown tool or a website, doesn't matter. Now, as I was mentioning earlier, that this CRMs or any of these enterprise softwares gets tailored a lot. So it's very difficult to give something which is out of box. So let's say if I sell some Whatfix on a CRM for a company 1, either Whatfix would help them or a third-party SI which has implemented that CRM, let's say Infosys, Wipro, or TCS, Accenture, somebody, or the company would have their own sales training members or L&D members or sales operations. One of the guys will take ownership. They will use Whatfix as a platform. They will create these processes. So process creation is like we have an editing tool, authoring tool, you can say. You perform that process. And as you click, Whatfix keeps grabbing those steps and does all the heavy lifting, and the whole process or the flow is created, which can be actually later on added as an overlay on top of the application, and it can be used in the live environment by any of the employees. So this simulation or this capturing, authoring of this is required once. So it can be either done by Whatfix as a consulting, or it can be done by a third party, or it can be done by the company themselves. So typically companies does in agile mode. Okay, let's start with the top 2 or 3 problems which typically employee face, and roll it out. So once the security and IT clearance is there, creating this process and rolling out will not take more than 5 to 7 days. After that, as they learn the usage patterns of the user based on our data analytics and all, they'll keep on rolling incremental basis. So that will go on.
What would be the ROI value on a rough single deployment? Can company look at, in terms of investing this kind of solution over a period of say 2 years or 5 years?
So 2 ways to look at it. There are few matrices which we consider, like after looking at customers, we have several case studies. Like Experience was using Whatfix on Salesforce, so migration from Classic to Lightning. There are several other companies using different softwares. So top matrices, what we see is the training time reduction. Every quarter when you roll out new processes, every new employee comes in. New enhancement of the underlying application or a platform, right? So multiple things keep happening. So typically the training time reduction we have seen around 60%, right? Support costs, right? When employee gets stuck or somebody is not able to use it, they will raise a ticket for internal IT or somewhere, right? So the ticket reduction we have seen almost 50%. The third, which is we were not initially focusing, later on we started realizing this, that because of now Whatfix hand-holding, the data accuracy has increased in CRM, in ERP. So that accuracy has gone up by 15-20% now. That's again a byproduct, right? Because of data accuracy, maybe your sales forecasting will be a little better now. Your financial forecasting might be a little better. And finally, the productivity of the user, like if I'm a sales guy or I'm a guy who's working in finance or somewhere, if I'm able to do my job without waiting for hand-holding or a training, I'm saving few hours a month. So that increases my productivity. So that we have seen increase from, let's say, 5% to 30%, depending on use case and depending on how it's implementation. So these are the few tangibles we have seen.
Beside Whatfix, there is a user lane, then WalkMe, and there are other couple of companies. So how do you see the competition growing in terms of this particular niche technology? And how you see to bid this existing customer, I mean your counterparts in terms of these are groups which are evolving, smaller companies. So how you see this particular software segment evolving from a competition point, markets?
Sure. So, as I was mentioning, that market is pretty huge, $8 to $10 billion. We have raised good money. A couple of one or two other players also have raised money. So it's very natural that across the globe, a lot of people will start trying to work on this. But category being new, I think the way to keep winning and keep to moving forward is keep innovating, keep identifying the best solution, what would work for your customers. Now we have a head start here. Like we have almost like 100 of Fortune 1000 companies already using Whatfix. So I'll give you some example, like Experian I was mentioning, one of the top credit management company is using Whatfix on a Salesforce. Manpower, one of the topmost workforce management companies using Whatfix. Sophos, Cardinal Health, top companies, Fortune companies in healthcare are using Whatfix. On a technology side, we have BMC Software, which is a leading ITSM solution, Cisco, right? On the marketing side, sports side, AXS. On distribution and other electric components, we have Amnet. We have government agency companies, government district offices like Maru in Australia, e-commerce companies like Takealot, manufacturing companies like Sealed Air, which is again a Fortune, pharma companies like Grifols, and then several others. Across this industry segment, Whatfix has now entered, right? So in any industry, if you take, out of top 20 companies in the industry, there are at least 3 to 4 of them have now started using Whatfix. Right? So we have a head start there. And when we start working so closely with some of these customers, for example, BMC started using with one application. Now they're using 8 to 10 applications with Whatfix. Cisco started with one, now they're using 6 to 7. So several of these companies, we started small and now we have grown so much that we understand that problem. Like, okay, what does it take to help them in one application? What does it take to help in 5, and how do I go enterprise wide? How do I ensure the utilization of software across the enterprise wide? How do I abstract it, make it easy for implementation, easy for deployment, maintainability? How do I abstract at the CXO level by providing that kind of visualization? So we have that head start, and we have continuously rapidly evolving on that part. So we are not much worried about the competition, because we will keep innovating and we will keep going deeper and deeper. Like for example, when I go to enterprise, let's say there are 100 applications. With the web, I can support 60. There are tons of enterprises which say, okay, I have 30, 40 legacy applications which is still in desktop or server environment. I have 10 very new applications which are mobile first. So we have already rolled out in March our desktop support. We are rolling out next month our mobile support. So the full suite, right? Along with the other features I was mentioning. We integrate with the existing ecosystem of their learning, like LMS, their knowledge base, their SharePoint. So we integrate all those and also contextualize and bring in. So it's not a small feature or a product. It's like a suite we have completely evolved now, becoming a platform. So that is keep giving us that edge in the market. And since we are working with so large customers closely, I think that is also helping us to learn faster and iterate much faster.
No, and one thing I wanted to ask into what kind of challenges you face, since the concept is new, in terms of helping making understand the customer, the enterprises to invest or at least use this kind of new technology. How much the challenges you are facing in this particular field?
Yeah, so typically, actually, because everybody is solving this problem one other way, like traditionally they were solving. So education and awareness is very crucial, right? How Whatfix will help. And so many times when we give demonstration to someone, they say, okay, guys, where were you? I was struggling for the last 7 years, 8 years. I didn't even know this exists. Right? So this is very, very common statement we get to know from. So awareness is the problem. Like 75, 80% markets still don't know about this category at all. So education, and awareness is very, very crucial. So I think if you see, if you go to digitaladoption.com, right? Digital adoption is our category, and that .com is owned by us, where we in May we did a virtual conference. We wanted to do physical, but because of COVID, we did virtual. It was a 3-day event participated by 4,000 to 5,000 folks across the globe. All in digital transformation, change management, or digital adoption. Every month we do 6 to 8 webinars where we call experts, we call some of our customers, and we try to spread this awareness. We did last year one series of podcast calling 10 CLOs of several companies, large companies, speaking on how they look at this change management, how they look at learning, with the changing paradigms and all. So we are spending a lot. We have identified a lot of mechanisms of doing this education. Like in 2019, we participated in 18 to 20 physical events across the globe, in UK, in US, in Australia. So I think that's the biggest challenge, and we are really working hard on improving the education and awareness, that part.
No, lastly, wanted to ask in terms of we are almost like inching towards the end of 2020, and we are going through horrible times. So from your business perspective, what are your plans for the next year? Since you are getting good traction, big customer gains are there. So how you see 2021 from here, and where you see the opportunities, where you want to push more in the markets?
Yeah. So multiple areas, Pankaj, actually, right? So one, as I was mentioning, we already have a strong presence in US, a good presence in Europe, specifically on the Western side, and a bit of presence a little bit across the globe. So we want to double down on that, right? So if you talk about continental Europe, we are looking at opening up our presence in Germany physically, which we already started working on. We are already doing interviews, and we want to, in a quarter or so, we want to start setting up there. Towards the end of the year, we're looking to get into Japan as well, right? Having a physical presence and double up our existing presence in US, UK, and Australia. So this is on the physical presence to have more presence globally. That's one area. The second area is actually as the awareness is increasing, right? So one is basically we are doing a lot of on the awareness side for adding the new logos or new customers, but on the existing customers also the footprint is, let's say, typically one application, four application, five application they are using Whatfix. How do I go to maybe 50 or 100 of them, right? So for that also, as I was mentioned, we are increasing our product, increasing the capability of product suite so that we can cater across organization, like coming up with different form factors and different capabilities there, so that we can target enterprise wide. And to ensure that this can be successfully delivered, we have also creating local geographical accounts team, which can actually work with those CXOs, CIOs, actually help them in consulting, help them in advising, like how digital adoption can actually be set up in their organization, how the center of excellence can be set up within those. So I think the COE format also we just recently launched. So helping them to establish that COE of digital adoption across organizations, see the ROI at the CXO level. So that's another piece which we are working in, started working, and we want to accelerate. And then regularly, as I was mentioning, product sales and also headcounts will keep growing. Like we already, I think by end of this year, we should be close to 370. Next year, we would like to cross maybe 550 or manpower across the globe. That's what we will be looking at.
In terms of product, are you looking to develop new products, or you think the existing platform is capable, or it needs to be enhanced little to expand its reach?
Right. So Pankaj, we look into two or three dimensions here. One is within the organization, how do I increase our footprint, right? So the one aspect I've already mentioned, like all browser-based we supported all these years. We started supporting from March onwards the desktop applications, right? The traditional ERPs, traditional SAP products. A lot of new products like collaboration, like WebEx or Slack or Microsoft Teams, they also have desktop features. So supporting all those as well, so that we can cover them. And then supporting Android, iOS products as well, which we are launching in September. So that is expanding the footprint so that we can support as many applications as possible. So that's a growth on the horizontal side. Now, if I take one of the application, let's say CRM or SCM or ERP, anyone. So of course, Whatfix was all the while helping into support in terms of training, in terms of helping them move, resolve their queries. Can I make this employee more and more efficient? So they know how to create opportunities, but while creating opportunities, they need to fill up 40 to 50 fields. Can I help them there? So I was helping always in validation, by giving them tips. But now Whatfix has rolled out automation piece as well. Like, okay, out of 40, if 20, 25 fields are routine for a specific set of you, for a specific sales rep in a specific geography, can I automatically fill up all those? If setting out a Salesforce, if they close a deal and if they want to see, okay, what's my commission in Workday, can I get that answer for them? So once this Whatfix process of flows are created, we actually now able to automate and help them fill up the partially or even execute in the background if it can be, and get them the answer. So moving from first is increasing horizontally for more number of application, in the same application, going deeper and automating stuff so that productivity can be continuously enhanced. And then finally, the third one is like utilization, right? So how the employees are using CRM. Are they achieving the goals? What is the best path to achieve the goal faster? Can we continuously learn, personalize for individual user and help them? So I think in December, we also acquired a company called ARIM, which actually does AI for personalization. So that piece. And then further, can we continuously iterate on that? And across organization, can I show the utilization to a CIO? Like, okay, I have 100 application, how is my utilization? So these are the different pieces we are working. One is going broader, some places going deeper, and then going personalized and doing abstraction. So across, you can say, product capability we are building continuously.
Okay, with that we are done, Khadim, and thanks for your time.
Awesome. Thanks, Pankaj.